The night sky over the human frontier world of Arden was quiet. Stars shone above the rocky hills like distant lanterns. The air was cool, and a soft wind carried the faint hum of the power lines that ran through the diplomatic outpost. Inside the control tower, Ryan sat at his station, watching the radar screen. It had been a long and calm week. No ships had arrived, and no messages had come from headquarters. He liked the silence even if the post felt lonely at times. Ryan was a young officer with sharp eyes and a steady posture. He had served on Arden for almost 2 years. Most of his days were spent monitoring incoming signals, filing reports, and walking along the quiet metal corridors of the base. The outpost was small, surrounded by a few landing pads and storage domes. There were only 30 people stationed there, and everyone knew each other by name. Life was simple and predictable. That changed when the alarm suddenly rang. A red light flashed above the radar. Ryan's screen showed a massive ship dropping out of warp space near the planet. Its signature was unfamiliar. It was not a human vessel. The outer defense systems came alive, scanning the newcomer. Within moments, the computer identified the markings. Ryan froze when he read the name. It was a royal ship from the Jareen Empire. The Jareen were an old and proud alien race. Their empire stretched across many star systems, and their royal family was rarely seen outside their own territory. For such a ship to arrive at a quiet frontier post was unusual. Ryan alerted the commander at once. Commander Mira entered the control room with quick steps. Her eyes were sharp and focused. She looked at the screen and frowned. "A Jareen royal ship here," she said. "This is unexpected. Are they sending any message?" "Yes," Ryan answered. "A signal is coming through. It is marked as diplomatic and urgent. Put it on the main channel," Mira ordered. The holographic projector came to life. A tall alien figure appeared in shimmering blue light. Her skin was pale silver, and her eyes were a deep violet that seemed to hold a quiet strength. She wore a royal robe with fine golden patterns that marked her as someone of high rank. When she spoke, her voice was calm but carried authority. "I am Princess Leora of the Jareen Empire," she said. "I request immediate permission to land. I will speak only to the human named Ryan." Ryan felt his heartbeat quicken. He had never seen this being before, yet she spoke his name as if they shared a past. Commander Mira looked at him with a puzzled expression. "Ryan, do you know her?" "No," Ryan said quickly. "I have never met anyone from the royal family. I have no idea why she wants to speak to me." Mira turned back to the hologram. "Princess Leora, this is a human diplomatic post. We welcome peaceful visitors. Permission to land is granted. However, I must ask why you request to speak to this officer." Leora's gaze shifted toward Ryan. Even through the projection, her eyes seemed to focus on him alone. "He knows why," she said softly. "Even if he does not remember now." The transmission ended without further explanation. A few minutes later, the night sky lit up as the royal ship descended through the clouds. It was larger than any vessel the base had seen before, with a smooth, curved design that reflected the stars like polished glass. It landed on the main pad with a gentle hum, releasing a soft blue light as its engines powered down. The base personnel gathered near the landing area, curious and nervous. Ryan stood at the front beside Commander Mira. The ship's ramp extended slowly, and a group of Jareen guards stepped out in neat formation. Behind them walked Princess Leora, tall and graceful. Her presence carried an air of calm strength, and every human nearby felt it. She approached Ryan directly. The guard stayed behind as if knowing this meeting was personal. She stopped in front of him and studied his face closely. There was something in her eyes that he could not explain. It was not anger or suspicion. It was a quiet sadness. Ryan straightened his posture. "Princess Leora," he said. "I am Officer Ryan of the Arden Diplomatic Outpost. You requested to see me. How may I help you?" For a moment she did not speak. Then she leaned closer so only he could hear her. Her voice was soft and carried a weight that made his chest tighten. "Have you forgotten me, human?" she whispered. Ryan's breath caught. A chill ran through him as if a hidden door had opened somewhere deep in his mind. He did not understand why, but her words struck something inside him. His hands trembled slightly and he struggled to find a response. I don't know you," he said carefully. "I think you may be mistaken." Her expression did not change. "No mistake," she said. "You may not remember, but the time has come. What was once hidden must now be revealed." Commander Mira stepped forward. "Princess, If there are matters of diplomacy, we can arrange a proper meeting with our senior envoys. This officer is not in a position to handle royal discussions. Leora shook her head gently. The envoys cannot help. The key lies with him. Only he can decide what happens next. Mira's eyes narrowed slightly. She did not like riddles and she trusted protocol. Then perhaps you should explain why. In time, Leora said. For now, I ask that I speak with him alone. The commander hesitated. She glanced at Ryan. He looked confused but not threatened. Finally, she nodded. Very well. You may speak with him in the conference room. I will have guards nearby. Inside the conference room, the atmosphere grew quiet. The walls were lined with screens showing distant stars. Ryan sat across from the princess. She stood rather than sit, as if sitting would make her lose focus. Why do you think I know you? Ryan asked. Leora looked at him steadily. Because once, long ago, we stood together on Jaren Prime. We made a promise that shaped the path of two civilizations. But something took that memory from you. It is time for you to remember, because without that promise, both our peoples will face a great danger. Ryan shook his head. I have no memory of this. I have never even been to Jaren space. Her voice softened. Not as you are now. But your mind holds what was lost. I came here because the signs have returned. A storm is coming, and the one who once stood beside me must awaken. Ryan could not find any answer. The idea that he had once made a promise to a royal princess of an alien empire felt impossible. Yet something inside him stirred like a faint echo. He felt the weight of her words pressing against the edges of his mind. The princess gave him a long, steady look. This is only the beginning, she said. Outside, the stars continued to shine over the quiet base, unaware that a forgotten story was beginning to surface once more. The next morning, the outpost was filled with quiet whispers. News of the Jaren princess's arrival had spread quickly among the crew. No one could understand why someone from the royal family had come to this remote place, and even more confusing was her insistence on speaking with Ryan. People watched him with curiosity as he walked through the corridors, but he kept his focus straight ahead. Inside, his thoughts were in complete disorder. He could still hear her whisper in his mind. Have you forgotten me, human? It echoed over and over like a sound that refused to fade. He tried to remember anything about her, any sign that they had met before, but his mind was blank. He had never traveled beyond human space except for short training missions. The idea that he had once stood on Jaren Prime seemed impossible, yet a small part of him felt uneasy, as if something was locked away deep inside. Commander Mira called him into her office. She stood by the large window that looked out over the landing pads. The Jaren royal ship still rested there like a shining monument. Sit down, Ryan, she said. He sat, his posture straight but his hands resting stiffly on his knees. This situation is delicate, Mira continued. The presence of a Jaren royal is a serious diplomatic matter. I have already sent a secure message to Central Command, but it may take days for a response. Until then, we must be careful. Princess Leora has made it clear that she wishes to speak only with you. Do you have anything at all in your memory that could explain this connection? No, Ryan answered honestly. I have searched my mind all night. I have never met her before. Mira looked at him for a long moment. Sometimes memory can be altered or sealed. In rare cases, diplomatic operatives have undergone memory locks for security reasons. It is uncommon but not impossible. There is a way to find out. She opened a drawer and pulled out a small data card. The medical wing has a neural scanner. It can detect unusual patterns in memory storage. I want you to undergo a scan. If there is something hidden, this will reveal it. Ryan hesitated, then nodded. If this will help us understand, I will do it. A short time later, Ryan lay on a cushioned chair inside the medical bay. A gentle hum filled the air as a set of curved metal rings lowered around his head. The lights dimmed slightly. Dr. Leon, the station's medical officer, moved around the console with calm precision. Relax, Ryan, she said. This scan is painless. It will simply read your neural patterns and look for unusual locks or encryptions. If something is hidden, the system will mark it. Ryan took a slow breath and closed his eyes. The machine activated, sending soft pulses through his mind. It felt like warm waves moving through his head. For several minutes, everything was quiet. Then the machine made a faint clicking sound, followed by a rising tone. Dr. Leon's eyes widened slightly. She looked at Commander Mira, who stood nearby. There is something, she said. I have never seen a pattern like this on a standard officer. There are encrypted segments in his long-term memory. The structure is alien in origin. Mira leaned closer. Alien? Yes, not human technology. And more interesting, the encryption is Jarin. Very advanced. It is like a door sealed by a key that only their kind would understand. Ryan opened his eyes slowly. So my memory was locked? Dr. Leon nodded. Yes, and not by accident. This is deliberate. Someone placed these locks carefully, probably to protect sensitive information. Without the key, we cannot open them. If we try to break it forcefully, it could damage your memory permanently. Mira folded her arms, which means the princess may be the only one who can unlock it. As if summoned by their conversation, Princess Leora entered the medical bay. Her presence filled the room with quiet authority. She glanced at the scanner's display and then at Rion. I see the seal remains, she said. It was placed to protect both our worlds. Only when the time was right would it open. That time is now. Mira stepped forward. Princess, I need to understand what this is about. Why would your people place locks in the mind of one of our officers? Leora looked at her calmly. Because years ago your leaders and mine agreed to hide a truth that was too dangerous to expose at the time. Ryan was chosen as part of a secret initiative. His memory was sealed so that no one could use it against either side. But the enemy that once threatened us has returned. The seal must be opened. Ryan sat up slowly. I don't remember agreeing to any of this. I don't remember anything at all. You will, Leora said, but the process must be done carefully. If you allow it, I can begin the unlocking sequence. I will not harm you. This is not an invasion of your mind, but a return of what was once yours. Mira looked uneasy. I cannot authorize alien interference with a human officer's mind without clearance from command. Leora met her gaze. If we wait for clearance, it may be too late. There are forces moving that neither of our empires can see yet. He holds the key to stopping them. Mira did not like it, but she could sense the seriousness in Leora's voice. She turned to Ryan. This is your choice. Do you trust her? Ryan looked at Leora. Her eyes were steady, filled not with deception but with a quiet certainty. Something inside him told him this was the path he had to follow. I will do it, he said. Leora nodded once. Then we will begin tonight. The memory lock cannot be opened in a laboratory. It requires a specific environment that triggers recognition. My ship has the necessary chamber. I ask that he be allowed to board under my protection. You may send your guards if you wish. Mira agreed reluctantly, but placed 2 security officers on standby. That evening, under the soft light of the landing pad, Ryan followed Leora toward her royal ship. The vessel's entrance glowed softly as they stepped inside. The corridors were elegant and curved, decorated with patterns that shimmered like flowing water. Everything felt quiet yet alive. They reached a circular chamber at the heart of the ship. The walls were covered in intricate designs that pulsed gently with blue light. Leora turned to him. This place is called the Chamber of Echoes, she said. It reflects memories that are hidden beneath conscious thought. When you stand in the center, the seal will respond to my presence and your will. If your heart accepts the truth, the first layer will open. Ryan stepped into the center. The floor beneath him lit up. A soft hum filled the chamber. Leora raised her hands and the designs on the walls began to shift, forming unfamiliar symbols. Ryan felt a warm sensation spreading through his mind. Images flickered briefly at the edges of his thoughts. A moonlit sky, 2 figures standing together. A promise made in silence. It was gone as quickly as it came, but it left his heart beating faster. Leora lowered her hands. The lock has responded. The first layer will open soon. Your memories are beginning to stir. Rion stood silently, unsure of what awaited him, but he knew there was no turning back now. The forgotten past was slowly waking, and whatever it held would change everything. The Chamber of Echoes glowed softly around Ryan, its walls alive with shifting patterns of blue light. The gentle hum that filled the air seemed to move with his heartbeat, steady yet growing stronger. Ryan stood still, trying to calm his breath. He felt as though the room itself was watching him, waiting for something inside him to awaken. Princess Leora remained a short distance away, her hands clasped in front of her. Her posture was calm, but her eyes never left him. She knew this was only the beginning, yet it was also the most delicate moment. The first unlocking of memory could shape everything that followed. Close your eyes, Rion, she said softly. Do not resist what comes. Your mind will bring fragments forward. Do not fear them. They are pieces of who you truly are. Ryan obeyed. At first there was only darkness. Then faint shapes began to form at the edges of his thoughts. He saw a wide sky with 2 moons shining above. The air was filled with the sound of gentle waves striking against stone. He was not standing on Arden anymore. He was somewhere else, somewhere he had never seen before, yet it felt strangely familiar. In the vision he saw himself, slightly younger, wearing a plain uniform. He stood on a terrace carved into white stone. Beside him stood Princess Leora, though she appeared younger as well, her features not yet carrying the full weight of her royal duties. They both looked out at the twin moons, their light casting long shadows across the terrace. Words came to him, though he did not remember speaking them. We cannot allow the divide to grow. If we stand together, there is hope for peace. Leora's younger self replied, her voice steady but filled with quiet emotion. Then let us make a vow, human. A vow that even time and distance cannot erase. The vision faded suddenly, leaving Ryan standing once more in the glowing chamber. His chest rose and fell quickly, his mind shaken by the intensity of what he had seen. He opened his eyes and looked at Leora. I saw something, he whispered. I saw us years ago. We stood together under 2 moons. We made a promise. Leora's expression softened. Yes, she said. You are beginning to remember. That terrace was on Jaren Prime, the heart of my people. You were sent there as part of a secret mission. At that time, tensions between our empires were rising. There were voices in both governments pushing for war. But there were also a few who sought peace. You were chosen as a representative of humanity, though the world never knew. Together we tried to build trust. Ryan rubbed his forehead. Why me? I was just an officer, not a diplomat. You were more than that, Leora answered. You were chosen for your honesty, for your courage, and for your ability to see beyond politics. My father, the Emperor, agreed to meet with you in secret. You spoke with him and you spoke with me. Over time, you became not only a representative but a bridge. That night under the twin moons, we swore to protect a pact of peace no matter what forces tried to destroy it. Her words struck him deeply, but doubt lingered in his mind. If we made such a promise, why do I not remember until now? Because the enemy was clever, Leora said quietly. There were those who wanted war, who wanted to profit from fear and division. They discovered fragments of our efforts. To protect you and to protect the pact, your memories were sealed. The choice was agreed upon by both leaders. Your own consent was given, though you may not recall it now. Your memories were hidden behind a Jaren lock, to be opened only if the danger returned. Ryan looked around the chamber, feeling both amazed and uneasy. And you say that danger has returned? Leora nodded slowly. Yes, the same hidden force is moving again. They are not Jaren and they are not human. They are shadows, working behind both empires, whispering lies and planting false evidence. Their goal is the same as before, to make our peoples turn against one another. If war begins, they will grow stronger in the chaos. Ryan tried to steady his thoughts. The images he had seen felt real, yet there was still so much missing. I need to remember more, he said. Fragments are not enough. If there is an enemy hiding between us, I must know everything. Leora raised her hand and the chamber's light grew brighter. Then we will continue. But each step will be heavier. The deeper your memories go, the more you will feel the weight of what was lost. Are you prepared for that? Ryan hesitated, but only for a moment. Yes, if this can prevent a war, I have no choice. The princess closed her eyes, focusing. The chamber responded to her presence, symbols on the walls shifting into new forms. The hum grew louder, steady and rhythmic. Ryan felt a pressure inside his mind, not painful but powerful, like a door slowly unlocking. His vision blurred, and once again he was pulled into memory. This time he saw a grand hall of crystal pillars. Human and Jaren delegates stood in secret council. Tension filled the air, but there was also hope. He saw himself walking forward to stand beside Leora. Together they spoke of cooperation, of sharing knowledge and guarding against unseen threats. Then a flash of betrayal. Documents stolen. Messages twisted, false evidence planted. He saw confusion, anger, and fear spreading quickly. Someone had worked in the shadows to undo all they had built. In the chaos, the decision was made. His memories were sealed and the records hidden. The pact was buried in silence. The vision ended sharply. Ryan gasped and steadied himself against the glowing floor. Sweat lined his brow. His heart pounded as the images echoed in his head. He looked at Leora, his voice low but firm. It was real, he said. We made a pact, and someone destroyed it. Yes, Leora said. And now they are trying again. But this time we cannot hide. This time the truth must stand. Ryan stood straighter, his earlier uncertainty fading. He still did not understand everything, but the pieces were falling into place. He had once been part of something greater than himself, something worth protecting. Now the memory of that vow stirred within him, calling him to act once more. Leora stepped closer. Her expression carried both strength and quiet relief. You are awakening, Rion. With your memories we can uncover the hidden enemy. But the path ahead will not be simple. You must be ready to face doubt from both sides, for there are many who would rather believe in division than in unity. Ryan met her gaze. Then let them doubt. If we made a vow to protect peace, I will honor it. Even if I had forgotten, I will not turn away now. For the first time since arriving, Leora allowed herself a faint smile. Then the vow lives again. Together we will bring the truth into the light. The chamber dimmed, its task complete for the moment. But both of them knew this was only the beginning. The echoes of the past had returned, and with them came the first clear sign of the storm that was rising. The chamber of echoes slowly became quiet. The glowing walls dimmed to a soft blue and the rhythmic hum faded. Ryan stepped out of the circle with unsteady legs. His mind was heavy with the memories he had recovered. The images of betrayal, secret councils, and broken promises still echoed inside his head. He understood now that his past had been hidden not out of cruelty, but to protect something precious. Princess Leora walked beside him through the curved corridors of her ship. The soft light followed their steps, reflecting off the polished walls. She moved with a calm grace, but her eyes showed a seriousness that had not faded since his awakening began. You remember enough to understand the danger, she said. The forces that tried to break our pact long ago never disappeared. They simply hid and waited for the right time. Now they are moving again. Their plan is to turn our empires against each other until nothing remains but confusion and mistrust. Ryan nodded slowly. I saw it in the memories. They stole information and twisted it to make both sides believe the other had betrayed them. They made the truth look like lies. They are masters of deception, Leora said. They have no homeworld, no armies, no flags. They work in shadows, slipping between systems and hiding their identity. Long ago, they were known only as the unseen. My ancestors believed they were a forgotten myth, but our mission years ago proved they are real. They entered the command hall of the royal ship. Jaren officers stood at elegant control stations. The ceiling was high and domed, covered in faint star patterns that shifted slowly like a living sky. A large central display showed star maps of human and Jaren territories, with colored lines marking trade routes, borders, and communication relays. Leora gestured toward the map. This is where we must begin. We have to find where the unseen are hiding. Their methods have not changed. They use false signals, forged messages, and hidden bases near border zones. If we can uncover even one of their operations, we can reveal the truth to both empires before they trigger a conflict. Ryan studied the map carefully. His training as a signal officer on Arden had taught him how to read patterns, and now his memories added another layer of understanding. They prefer locations where human and Jaren communication lines cross. That way they can intercept and modify both sides at once. Look here, he said, pointing to a cluster of faint lines between sectors. This is a neutral zone. It has no major settlements, but it connects several important relay stations. It's the perfect place to hide. One of Leora's officers, a tall Jaren with soft gray markings across his face, stepped forward. We have detected unusual transmissions in that region recently. They appear as background noise but are too regular to be natural. Leora nodded. Prepare the long-range sensors. Scan every signal path in that area. If the unseen are there, we will find their trace. The officer began the process, and the command hall filled with quiet sounds of scanning instruments. Lines of data flowed across the displays. The atmosphere grew tense as everyone waited. After several minutes, the officer spoke again. Princess, we have found something. There is a repeating signal buried under standard navigation frequencies. It is disguised as random interference, but it matches the structure used in the old encrypted transmissions discovered years ago during the first Pact mission. Ryan leaned closer to the screen. They are repeating the same trick. They believe no one remembers. That signal is likely a control code, maybe even a command link between hidden units. Leora gave a clear order. Trace it. Find its source. The ship systems process the signal, following the faint trail through relay after relay. Finally, the display showed the result. The signal originated from a small moon orbiting a quiet gas giant near the border between human and Jaren space. It was a place few visited and had no official bases registered. Ryan looked at the coordinates carefully. If they are there, they must be preparing something large. That moon sits between two major communication channels. If they control it, they can send false messages to both sides and make it look like attacks are happening, where there are none. Leora agreed. This must be stopped before they can act. If we do not expose them now, they will spark a war neither side will be able to contain. Commander Mira was contacted from the outpost, and she listened carefully to the findings. Though she remained cautious, she trusted the evidence. She arranged for a secure communication line with human intelligence to prepare for a coordinated investigation. Later that day, Rian stood with Leora on the observation deck of her ship. The stars stretched endlessly outside the transparent walls. He felt the weight of their task pressing on him. If we go there, we will be walking into their territory, he said. They will try to hide again. They may even try to make it look like we are the enemy. Leora looked out at the stars with a calm but determined gaze. They thrive in silence and confusion. The best way to defeat them is to bring light where they hide. We do not need to fight them with weapons. We need to expose their lies so that both empires can see the truth with their own eyes. Ryan nodded. Then we need proof. If we can collect clear evidence of their activities on that moon, both human and Jaren leaders will have to believe us. She turned to him. And you will be the one to deliver that proof. Your position as a human officer and your restored memories give you the authority to speak to both sides. I will support you, but they must hear it from you. Ryan felt a deep sense of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had never imagined that his quiet post on Arden would lead to this. Yet now he stood at the center of something far larger than himself. I understand, he said. I will not fail. The next hours were filled with careful preparation. The royal ship adjusted its navigation path toward the border zone. Human command was informed through secure channels, though only a small trusted group knew the full details to avoid leaks. A joint investigation was arranged in secrecy, with Rian as the bridge between the two sides. As the ship entered warp space, Rian returned to the Chamber of Echoes for a moment of quiet. He stood alone in the center, feeling the gentle hum around him. He thought about the vow he had made years ago under the twin moons. He thought about the trust between him and Leora, forged long before he had lost his memories. Now he understood why that promise had mattered so much. It was not just about two people. It was about two civilizations choosing trust over fear. The unseen had tried to erase that bond once. This time he would not let them succeed. The ship emerged near the border and the quiet gas giant came into view. Its swirling blue and green clouds filled the display, and the small moon circled it like a watchful eye. Leora stood beside Ryan at the main viewport. There it is, she said, the place where the truth hides. Ryan stared at the moon, his heart steady. Then let us bring it into the light. The crew prepared the final scans and reconnaissance plans. The mission was clear. They would uncover the hidden operations of the unseen, gather undeniable proof, and return before the spark of war could be lit. In that moment, the forgotten pact between human and Jaren stood strong once more, ready to face the shadows that had waited too long in silence. The royal ship moved silently toward the quiet moon that orbited the swirling gas giant. From the main viewport, the surface of the moon looked gray and still. There were no cities, no lights, and no signs of activity. To anyone passing by, it seemed like an empty rock floating in space. But Ryan and Princess Leora knew better. The hidden signal traced from the communication relays pointed directly to this place. Inside the command hall, the crew worked carefully. Sensor operators scanned the surface for any trace of artificial structures. Engineers adjusted the communication arrays to avoid alerting anyone who might be listening. The entire ship felt focused, as if every person understood the importance of the moment. One of the officers spoke clearly. Princess, there is a faint energy field on the far side of the moon. It is weak, but it covers a large area. It could be a cloaking shield. Leora leaned closer to the display. That is where they are hiding. We must proceed with care. We cannot let them block our investigation. Rian stood beside her, studying the readings. His experience as a signal officer helped him understand the patterns quickly. The energy field is designed to reflect scans outward. If we approach from the shadow side of the moon, their sensors may not detect us right away. We can get close enough to collect data without setting off alarms. Leora gave the order and the ship adjusted its course. The engines hummed softly as they moved into the shadowed orbit. The moon slowly filled the view as they approached. Its surface was marked with craters and ridges untouched for centuries. Once they reached a safe distance, the crew launched small observation drones. These drones carried advanced scanners and silent propulsion systems. They slipped through the weak points in the energy field and sent back clear images. The entire command hall watched the screens as the first images came through. What appeared was a large hidden base built inside a natural crater. Its structure blended with the rock, making it invisible to simple observation. Antenna towers rose from the surface, hidden beneath shifting plates that made them look like part of the terrain. The base pulsed with faint signals that matched the pattern of the false communications. Ryan felt a mix of amazement and determination. "This is it," he said. "The proof we need. They have been hiding here, intercepting and twisting messages between our empires." Leora nodded firmly. With this evidence, neither side will be able to deny their existence. The truth will break their plan. The crew gathered data carefully, recording transmissions and mapping every structure. Rion worked closely with the Jaran technicians, comparing signal codes with human records stored in the ship's archives. Piece by piece, they built a clear and complete picture of the hidden network. Hours passed as the investigation continued. By the time the drones returned, they had collected enough evidence to prove that the Unseen were using the base to send false attack messages. These messages were timed to reach human and Jaran military fleets simultaneously, designed to trigger defensive responses that would look like real attacks. If the plan had succeeded, both sides would have believed the other had struck first. Leora stood at the center of the command hall and addressed her officers. "You have done well. This information must reach both our leaders without delay. The Unseen thought they could hide in silence forever. Now the light will find them." Ryan prepared a joint report, using both human and Jaran formats so that no leader could claim misunderstanding. He worked with Leora to write a clear message explaining the history of the Forgotten Pact, the rediscovered memories, and the proof of the hidden base. The message included data logs, signal patterns, images, and the recovered encryption keys. When the report was complete, Leora gave the command to send it through secure diplomatic channels to both governments. The transmission spread through the stars, carrying with it the truth that had been hidden for years. Now all they could do was wait. 2 days later, a response arrived. The human government and the Jaran Royal Council both confirmed the authenticity of the data. Independent teams were sent to the moon to verify the information, and they found the hidden base exactly as described. Leaders from both sides held emergency councils to address the revelation. For the first time in many years, representatives from both empires met through a shared communication channel. Ryan and Leora stood side by side on the royal ship's main deck as the council screens came to life. On one screen appeared human officials dressed in formal uniforms. On another appeared the Jaran Council, their silver and violet garments glowing in the soft light. The air was filled with quiet tension as both groups regarded each other. It was Ryan who stepped forward to speak. His voice was calm but carried a strength that came from both memory and present conviction. "Years ago," he began, "humans and Jaran made a promise under the twin moons of Jaran Prime. I was there. Princess Leora was there. We vowed to protect peace and guard against hidden forces that wanted to divide us. That memory was locked away to protect both sides. Now it has returned because the same danger has returned. We have found the Unseen. They have been sending false signals to turn us against each other. Here is the proof." He presented the evidence clearly. The council studied every detail. Leora then spoke with grace and authority. "The Jaran Empire stands with the truth," she said. "We will not be misled by shadows any longer. Let this moment remind us of the bond that was once made and must be renewed again." There was silence across the screens as the weight of the moment settled in. Slowly, one by one, the human officials and the Jaran Council members nodded in agreement. A joint declaration was signed in the following days. Both sides agreed to strengthen their communication networks, create shared security protocols, and work together to expose any remaining operations of the Unseen. The hidden base on the moon was turned into a joint observation post, symbolizing unity rather than division. Ryan became a key figure in the renewed alliance. His recovered memories and his role in revealing the truth earned him respect on both sides. Yet he remained humble, knowing that this victory belonged not to one person but to the promise they had all made long ago. On the final evening before the royal ship returned to Jarin space, Ryan and Leora stood together on the observation deck. The stars stretched out before them, endless and bright. Leora turned to him with a calm smile. "You kept the vow even when you did not remember it. That is the strength of your people. You may forget for a time, but when the moment comes, you remember who you are." Ryan looked out at the stars, feeling a quiet pride rise within him. "Maybe that's what it means to be human," he said. "To forget, but also to remember when it matters most." The royal ship slowly turned toward the light of distant stars, carrying with it the renewed hope of two civilizations. The darkness of the unseen had been revealed, and in its place the promise of unity stood strong once more. Humanity had remembered, and the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter for it.